So I'm wondering, how many of you watching this right now have ever seen the poster or read the book, Everything I Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten? Now, while it might be a little bit of a stretch, because certainly there's a lot of additional things that we need to learn along the way, I do have to say that in this time and place, I think it's important that we really consider going back to the basics. And what I'm referring to here is the importance of learning how to treat one another with dignity and respect. And these are lessons that we learn at a very young age, whether that's in early childhood by watching programs such as Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, which is now Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, watching Sesame Street or any of the other programs that are out there, being in preschool, learning how to interact with others in a civil type of manner, being in kindergarten, again, a little bit longer of a day, learning how to interact with one another, learning some of the basics, the ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, and so on. But notice what this underlying theme is, that we're learning how to socialize with one another in a respectful, non-discriminatory type of a way. And for those of you who are feeling overwhelmed right now with, well, where do I even start? Because there's so many things going on right now that it's hard to think of anything to be able to do right now at the moment. Really think about that one thing that you can do. And for those of you who are parents, that's really where it starts, is by setting an appropriate example to your children, letting them know what it looks like to respect one another, what it looks like to assert themselves, what it looks like to manage conflict accordingly. These types of things are especially important because, as we could see, and that saying goes, the apple doesn't fall very far from the tree, when it does come to familial type of problems, they do continue to go from one generation to the next unless somebody ultimately breaks the cycle. So why not have that cycle breaker be you? And for those of you who did come from really great families who taught you good lessons in terms of your beliefs and values, go ahead and carry that forward while continuing to make yourself better. Again, if there's anywhere to start with any of this, it's starting with you, it's starting with your children and setting that appropriate example. At the very least, you're having interactions likely daily with your younger children, maybe a little bit more sporadically with your older ones, but the life lessons never stop. Let it start with you, be the change you want to be in the world, and remember, the most important things that we learned, although we continue to refine as we move forward, truly were in kindergarten. So let's go back and channel our younger selves and remember the right way of being with one another. Thank you and have a great week.